Welcome back to a new video of mine, and today I'm going to show you a little bit of a data pack I made. This is the second data pack in total that I've made, and this one is actually quite a bit different. The data pack I'm talking about is the new Assassin's Creed Creator data pack that I made, as you might be able to tell by the skin I'm wearing right now. But yeah, let me quickly show you what we can do in this data pack. By the way, we're in my first Krenia base of my SMP, that I have upgraded and finished in creative mode, just so you know. But yeah, when you click on the first link in the description, then you will go to the Planet Minecraft website of the actual data pack. And here you can download, you can go to my homepage as well, but when you download it, then you'll get a zip file, and that's the one you have to put in the datapacks folder in your world. On the page itself here, I have basically put all the descriptions and stuff that I'm gonna explain in this video as well. So if you want to read it real quick, you can go through all of this. I'm also gonna simply go through all the points in here in this video. First things first, when you reload and install the data pack, then you will simply get a nice little overview message. And the two important functions of this one are that you can get the feature guide and also open the settings in here. Talking about the feature guide, if we click on this button here, you get a book, and if you open it, then you have basically an in-game explanation of all the features. Now, to use the data pack correctly, or basically at all, you need the items that you have to use to spawn the spots where you can do some things. To get those items, you have two options. You can either simply type in /function AC and then admin/give items to receive all of those items. They should be 5 in total, and there's also a second way. If you have the book, the feature guide, you can go to the second page and click this lower button here to also get them. Now we have them 2 times, we don't actually need them. So yeah, let's go through all the functions and what those spawn eggs here do. The first feature in Assassin's Creed is of course the parkouring and climbing on stuff, like houses, mountains, or things like that. So you can simply use the first egg that is called Create a Climbing Spot, and let's say we want to be able to climb on this ledge here. If we simply go up here, right now we can't do anything. But if we use the Create Climb Spot item and jump up once, then you see that a little ladder was spawned. And now, when we sneak and jump, we can basically stand in mid-air, which is basically supposed to represent hanging on the ledge of this thing. If we now jump again and create a second climbing spot, we can simply climb up all the way there. How it works is simply, when you sneak in the spot, then a barrier block gets spawned right below you, and if you unsneak, it gets removed again. So now, if we want to climb up there, we can just simply sneak and jump a couple of times, and we're up on top of the roof. Pretty simple and straightforward. The conditions to spawn this spot are also very simple. It has to be above an air block, because, well, of course, the block beneath is going to be replaced and back to air again later. Let's move on to the second item, which is called Create a Synchronization Spot. If you're familiar with the game Assassin's Creed, then basically I think all of them have a feature where you can synchronize with your world. For that you have to climb up to some nice and overlooking synchronization spots, and then you can basically press E to synchronize you with the world. I personally haven't figured out any way to do it like that, but what we can do is simply sneak and then unsneak, and after that you can basically jump. Oh yeah, of course we first need to create the spot. So if you put it right there, then a little badge was glowing there, and now the spot is created. The conditions for that is basically just that the block below is an actual full block. So if we now sneak and unsneak after a second and jump, then the animation is played, which is basically just flying all around the spot where we first were. And that is basically all you need to know about the synchronization. Of course, if you put that in your world, you kind of want it to be high up, just so that it looks a little bit more awesome and makes sense. But otherwise, you can basically also put it right on the ground. Nobody's stopping you from doing that. moving on to a couple of other things like hiding spots. We have 3 different types of hiding spots in this datapack. I'm gonna fly over to another spot where I made that already. And yes, of course, the first one is the hay bale. The stack of hay where you can simply walk in and hide. Now the interesting part is, of course, you can walk straight through those things, because otherwise it wouldn't be very helpful. But the second part is that you can actually go invisible when sneaking. You also get a slight little speed boost, but that's just to make it a little more easy to go around in there. And going back into the city here, or the village, we have the second spot, the second hiding spot, which is kind of like a curtain. In the game there often are like curtain things. I don't really exactly know what they really are, but they have curtains in front of them. So the feature I have put in is exactly that. You can walk in there, and in here of course you can also go invisible just to make it easier. But yeah, you can walk straight through those as well. And the third and final spot variant of that is the custom spot. Because if you're building something with a bush or something like that and you want to be able to hide in the bush, but don't really want anything like the kelp blocks for the curtains or hay bales for the hay stack, you can do that as well with a custom spot. And I'm gonna take the opportunity to show you how the menu even looks when creating the spot, because when you click somewhere with the create a hiding spot item, then you're gonna get a few options in the chat. First one of course is the pile of hay, then the pair of curtains and the custom hiding spot. And at the end of course cancellation if you don't wanna put the spot right here. But yeah, I'm gonna select the custom hiding spot here, and of course a little icon popped up again. So now we can just simply walk in here and sneak and go invisible in the bush. You can of course also just simply create it right here in basically nothing. So now we can just simply vanish in midair. You have a little bit more freedom with that here. The second 2 items are a little bit more different. They're gonna be useful to manage the spots that have already been created. We're gonna talk about those in a bit, but first let's move on to 2 other features. Of course, Assassin's Creed wouldn't be anything without the assassins part. So I have made some way to be able to assassinate enemies or mobs in general. By default, you need a sword that is above golden level. Gold still counts, so anything except wood or stone. And when you walk right behind any entity, that is like if you're standing right behind them and sneak, you can one-hit them. I'm gonna quickly take a couple of things here to just show you that it is actually working for basically everything and that you can one-shot them completely. Okay, he's gotta look away. But now, if we're at the right spot, we can basically kill them in one sweep. How it works is you get a brief strength effect of basically infinity while you're sneaking behind them, which just simply allows you to kill anything with one strike. But you gotta be careful. If you miss and kinda hit them while they were looking in some other direction, you're gonna get in trouble. Anyway, next thing on the list is actually the leap of faith. Because right after synchronizing, you can often jump into a haystack and perform a leap of faith. Also, I have put a synchronization spot on this hanging tree here, which in my opinion just looks pretty cool, and right after the animation, of course, we can simply jump down. I'm going to show you in survival mode just to show you that it actually works. So those stand there are, of course, hay blocks. And if I, for example, jump down here, you can see I took 1 heart of damage. So fall damage is on. But if we jump down here now, we're completely fine. You of course get the damage sound because it's just a resistance effect that you get for a second, but you're still gonna be fine jumping down there. And it basically works that if you're a little bit above those hay blocks, you get a resistance effect, and well, while you're falling through, you just simply get it for about the right amount so that you don't get any damage. Now onto the two last items here in our hotbar. The first one is removing any created spot, because of course you want to be able to remove them if you accidentally missed anything. And the second is detecting. Make any created spot glow shortly. So if you click on that, you can see where any spot was created. And that basically works in the way that everything that has a spot is glowing for 5 seconds. So for example, this custom spot here, we can now remove. Just simply walk right to it on the same spot and use this one. And now if we detect anything, then this one is gone, but the rest is still glowing. Works with all the 3 spots. So for example, if I stay sneaking on this climbing spot and click on that, then they get removed. It's that easy. Now before we go to the last point we have to cover, let's talk about the settings that you can change. If you go into the feature guide and go to the second page, then you can click the upper button here, or you can simply type /function acadmin settings in the chat, and then you will see this window. The options that you have are displayed in the chat, and the buttons here can be clicked to change the settings. So the first setting that you can change is the overview message that we talked about at the start. So if you don't want that to be repeated every time you reload your world, you can turn that off. Next up, when you are synchronizing. In the Assassin's Creed games, you usually see your character sneaking or sitting on top of this, but in Minecraft we can't really detach our view without any mods. So I have put in a couple of features. The first one is just to put in a generic character in here when we simply synchronize, so that a character is displayed here. And this is simply a just assassin's skin that doesn't have any specific look, but we also have the option to display myself, my own head. In the future I might add the function to put in your own head, but I'd first have to figure out how to do that. Now you can see that my Assassin's Creed head is displayed here. Moving on, the next settings are referring to the hiding spots. Because you can change, for example, if you want to be able to hide and get invisibility while hiding, as well as the speed boost. You can change if you want to be invisible when sneaking and to get the speed boost. But also, in my opinion, it is kind of a nice idea to limit the hiding to people that have, I guess, high health. So that people that are just coming out of a fight will not be able to just simply hide to get out of trouble. So if you click no under give hiding effects to players below 7 hearts, then you have to have at least those 7 hearts to get those effects. If it is on yes, then everybody can hide all the time. And the last changes we can make are about assassinations. The first here is needing a sword to assassinate anything. That is by default on, so you basically have to use a sword of, well, generally any kind. By default something above stone, like gold and above, to assassinate anything. But you can turn that off so that you can actually assassinate something with your bare hand. That could be useful if you have a separate item, or you want to be able to assassinate anything with hidden blades of your skin or something like that. So I don't want to limit you to that. And then at the end you can also enable that you can assassinate with weak swords like wood and stone. And that's all the settings that you can change. And the last thing that we have to cover, in my opinion, even though hopefully you're not going to need it, is uninstalling the datapack. If you go to the feature guide and go to the third page, then there's also a little bit of a description here, and if you click on this button or type /function acadmin uninstall, then you get this menu. You have 2 options here, which is basically just a measure to make sure that if you want to reinstall the datapack eventually again, nothing of what you created is lost. So to explain, I'm giving you 2 options. to keep all the spots while uninstalling so that you can reinstall and everything is kept, or to uninstall and remove everything. So if we click on yes, I want to keep it, then first of all of the items here don't work anymore and we can't climb on anything, or the spots are removed. But if we now, for example, enable the datapack again, then everything is back to where it was before. And everything is fine. But if we now click on the no option here, then while uninstalling, everything is completely removed. So if we enable the datapack again, nothing is being restored. Oh yeah, and before I forget, if you want to reset everything, you can also use the / function AC remove all function. So with that, of course, everything that you created is removed without uninstalling the datapack and stuff like that. So just to give you a clean slate. And that's basically all we have for this datapack. Maybe I'm gonna add a couple of other features, like for example air assassinations and eagle vision in the future, but I'm not gonna promise anything. So yeah, I of course hope that you enjoyed this video, that it was helpful, and that you will enjoy the datapack and creating Assassin's Creed maps. I'm gonna do that myself as well in the future, so keep an eye out for that. Anyway, I hope that we'll see each other in that stream or in another video. And with that, as always, thank you very much, and we'll see each other then. So, goodbye for now, and see ya.